They're a bit of a rough bunch, but they're all right outside the pond, but not in the pond.
On December 27, 1959, on a dirt road 3 miles east of Bingle Bay, an adult male toad was observed during amplexus with an adult female toad. At least 3 factors appeared quite unique about this situation. First, the female was dead, and had been for some time. It appeared as if she had fallen victim to a car. The limbs were already stiff, abdomen greatly distended, and the smell of putrefaction about her. Secondly, of course, it appears strange that the male should be so intent as to fail to observe the female's condition. Thirdly, the time and place we encountered this pair was unusual. It was at 1400 hours on a sunny afternoon, but even more interesting was the location, the middle of the road. The sexual drive appears strong enough in these toads to explain his accepting her, but his continuance through a possible 8 hours of daylight seems rather strange.
When we first came up north, we had friends that had 2 little girls. And these little girls had cane toads as pets. Instead of little dollies, they had these cane toads. They actually had little dresses made up for them, little skirts and beds in a doll's house. They used to dress the toads up and tuck them into their little beds. They used to carry them about, you know, wrapped up in little baby bunting type of things like you do, little dollies. These girls had names for them. They used to set up little tea parties. And they used to get these toads and scratch their tummy and the things that lay back, obviously enjoying it, and stick their legs up into the air and just fall asleep. And they were the most contented, good little, I suppose, alive little dollies that any girl could like, but just so ugly.
If anyone could love a cane toad, it could only be another cane toad. 'Cause when you love a cane toad, you've gotta love him, warts and all. If your face was like a cane toad, and you wore it night and day, how would you feel if everyone who looked at you turned?
I wonder what those spots are for. When he's got these 2 spots and these 2 big long.
If you try, you might discover you can be a cane toad lover. Then I wouldn't have to say, oh, if anyone could love a cane toad, it could only be another cane toad.
Get down again.
'Cause when
No, you can't get up. No.
you gotta love
Get
him,
down,
warts
and then I
and
tickle.
all.
Just be quiet. When I tickle his tummy, he really likes it. But if I tickle his feet, he doesn't like it. Sometimes I call him Greenie, and sometimes I call him Reddy. Sometimes I call him Cane, almost Toad. Sometimes I call him Dairy Queen.
Well, there's a number of popular misconceptions about cane toads, one of which is that they feel disgusting to touch. But this isn't true at all. They feel quite dry, not slimy. The skin is slightly rough, but it does have a nice silky feeling, and you don't get warts from them. Another misconception is that just by touching them, the toads will exude their poison, and this is also not true. For a toad like this to exude any of its poison from its glands, it has to be severely harassed, for instance, being picked up in a dog's mouth and really severely shaken. I mean, to just handle a toad like this doesn't cause it any distress at all. In fact, I think they quite like it.
Though a cane toad may look spiteful, and his manners may be frightful, he can be delightful in a toady sort of way.
I tell you what, they are getting smaller around like the gentleman said the other day when we had rain here, we had about 12 or 14 of them on the driveway, and there was some kind of a little bug flying around.
Yeah.
And they were going after those bugs.
They're all fighting over the one
But
bug.
they sure will eat cat food.
Yeah. Thank you for that call.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye, John.
Bye.
Yes, if the dogs and cats don't come straight away to be fed, they will have all their food eaten up by cane toads. They'll just come in, they love anything, gravy and peas, it doesn't matter what it is. If the dog doesn't have it, it's gone by morning. The cane toads do not mess about. They get in for their bit and they eat it all up.
One of our ways of amusing ourselves at night time was to feed him with cigarettes. These buffalo merino toads could really smoke. They loved them.
It will clean up the slugs, the snails, and a lot of other pests in the garden.
The cane toad like to going underneath lights. The lights reflect the moths, the insects. And this way, he goes underneath it and swallows them up. His reaction is the same thing, like a vacuum cleaner. If he sees something drop off, he goes and pick it up and swallow it in like a vacuum cleaner sucks it into his body.
Gut content analysis has shown that it'll eat virtually any living thing that's small enough to get in its mouth, from frogs to small birds to caterpillars to insects, crabs, all sorts of things. In fact, one researcher showed that the toad will even try and eat ping pong balls as they bounce past the front of them. So the general selection of food for a cane toad is if it moves or even if it doesn't move. If it can be fitted into its mouth, then it will attempt to eat it.
We even found situations in which the wretched toads were eating the native animals. In one case, a toad was gutted and found to contain in its stomach a pygmy marsupial mouse. Now, this is a very rare native marsupial, which in fact I was studying as a student at that point, so I was very interested. One of these really important animals to me came out of the stomach of a cane toad. Anything that moved that was smaller than the cane toad was potential prey.